3, 2, 1.
Racing World is presented by Race Control Magazine.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to a bit of a Racing World, let's just say, boys trip out. So I'm currently in the car here with Mr. Alastair Wootten, great mate of mine from Fastmaster New Zealand, agents for Puma in New Zealand. So if you need some good racewear, there's a little plug for you straight away, Al. We're on our road on the way to the Huntly Speedway in Auckland. So for those of you in New Zealand that are watching this, you all know where Huntly is for the Bryce Townsend Memorial Meeting. Me and Al are doing the commentary there tonight. Very fitting tribute for a guy that we lost just over a year ago now. So we'll talk more about Bryce and bring some stuff from the event when we get closer to there. But we thought we'd just make this into a little boys roadie for you. So some of the aspects that we've got to talk about while we're travelling along the highway here is, first of all, the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Academy. And Alastair and I are both trustees. I've been a trustee for 11 years now, and Alastair's the new boy. He's been around for about 4 years, so he's getting there. Al, it's a great thing for New Zealanders, young New Zealanders. You know, you've got 3 New Zealanders at the moment in the Road to Indy series that have all come through the academy. We've got a 33% average of converting young drivers into full-time paid professionals, so it says a lot for motorsport in this country.
Yeah, it does, Dave, and you know, I think the sport is probably in an incredibly strong position given the last sort of year that we've had with COVID times and all the rest of it as well, that the drivers have been able to prevail and actually get some seat time and actually hone their skills down here and not actually miss out on any international racing, because more often than not the European drivers, when they come down here for the summer, using the New Zealand Championships as a bit of a prelude or a pre-season testing program before going back to Europe or the States and actually honing those skills and starting their championship then. So our drivers here over the summer got a really great chance to, you know, perfect their skills on a national level, with not having to have the test of racing against any international drivers as well. So they'll actually be on the front foot and actually going up to continue their campaigns, like you say, with the likes of Hunter McElrea, Billy Fraser and Peter Vodonovich up in the States as well.
Well, it's a great thing, and we're about to, by the time this podcast goes to air, we will have interviewed some 27 drivers for the 8 positions for this year's Academy later this week in Auckland. So, you know, it's a hotly contested seat to have, to be part of the Academy, which is fitting for the words. It is the Elite Academy, and we're very hopeful that there's going to be some great young kids come out of it again this year.
Yeah, that's right, and I think with, like I say, obviously hate having the discussion around COVID all the time, but obviously with there not being any camp down at the Elite Motorsport Academy last year, it has meant that there has been a massive amount of applicants for this year coming, so really excited to see the batch of drivers that we managed to select for the 8 to head down to Dunedin in July.
Just like to point out too at this stage, Al is driving safe. He's got his eyes on the road. We've both got our seatbelts on, so we're safety aware. Just in case any one of you want to start sending us a hate mail. Looking also at some of the other aspects in relating to the Elite Academy, Alastair, for those of you who don't know him, was a driver and still is a driver, driving in the Trans Am Series here in New Zealand, through the Toyota Racing Series and many things, and was a member of the Elite Academy some years ago. Just as actually before I became a trustee, I did the camp as well, because that was one of the things I wanted to do as a trustee, was see what it was like when you're the student, so we can speak quite honestly and open about what it brings to the young drivers and rally co-drivers and drifters and karters and a variety of people that go through their camp. So that's number 1 on our agenda on our boys road trip. Just like to say, even though you're not a sponsor of us right now, BP, if you ever want to sponsor us, the coffee's great, so you know, come on in. Me and Elle are quite happy to sup the BP Wild Bean Cafe anytime. Right, moving on to IndyCar, actually, seeing as we've started with the Indy theme. First race of the season this weekend at Barber. Once again, by the time this podcast goes to air, we'll have the results of that. But this morning I got to speak to Jimmy Johnson, 7-time NASCAR champion, and on the eve of his debut, the interesting thing that came out of that, Al, was the fact that he's a rookie technically, and the other two rookies this year, Romain Grosjean and Scott McLaughlin. So it's not a good year to be a rookie, really.
No, and far from rookie status, I think, in terms of the international motorsport realms of things as well. So, and you actually had a chance to chat with Jimmy this morning in a press conference, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So this is what
cool.
Jimmy had to say to me just this morning, New Zealand time, about the transition into the IndyCar this weekend.
For the testing I've done, I should say the situations I've been in, I feel confident. But there are so many situations I haven't been in yet. And there's some discussion about rain tomorrow morning. I've yet to be on a rain tire in an IndyCar and have no idea what to expect when that happens. So there's just a long list of firsts. And I'm trying to set realistic expectations for the fans watching. I know many of my hardcore fans expect me to hop in and be right at the front of the pack, but and I'd love for that to be the case, but I've got a long road to get there.
Well, those words of Jimmy Johnson as he sets in for his first weekend in IndyCar in earnest, shall we say, and it'll be really interesting to see how he goes. We'll hear more from him probably across the season as well. Al, just staying with the IndyCar thing for a while, isn't it amazing that you've got a 7-time champ teamed up with a 6-time champ?
Absolutely unreal, isn't it? And as we say, in terms of Jimmy Johnson being a rookie in the category, but mate, I tell you what, for Scott Dixon and Jimmy Johnson to be teamed up is seriously impressive. And I know if I was running an IndyCar, there'd probably be one guy that I'd want to be sitting beside me analysing data and giving me a few tips, and that would be Scott Dixon.
Well, then the amazing part about it, the driver coach, Dario Franchitti. So it just gets
better.
No, it gets amazing. But, then you look at people like Scott McLaughlin. He's got Rick Mears in his corner as well. So, the Penske organisation's there. Andretti's there. Someone asked me the other day who I thought would win the championship in 2021. And honestly, I think it's too close to call. Anyone who comes out of these first 3 races, because there's 3 races in 4 weekends, is going to do well. But as you well know, racing is about consistency, and it's a season-long campaign that wins a championship.
Yeah, it is, and I think, as we know with Scott Dixon, that's why he is always a title contender. You can never rule out Scott Dixon, and the types of the team personnel that is behind all these drivers as well. There's no way that you can rule out these drivers and these teams as not being exactly that there's so many more things than just the driver involved in terms of bringing home these championships, and having guys like Dario Franchitti and Rick Mears in your corner, it just accumulates and just adds to that whole program.
And then there's also the pit lane element. I've talked about it many times on this show and in the past, and you've been with me as well up in Indianapolis, where you have, for Scott, he's got Blair Julian, who's been with him a long time as crew chief. Number of New Zealanders spread across the entire pit lane. It's the strength of teams as opposed to individuals that win championships, really.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the case, and I think with the likes of the rookies, with Romain Grosjean, with Jimmy Johnson, with Scott McLaughlin, it's what those drivers need to be able to get them up to speed as quickly as possible as well. If they didn't have those types of names behind them, I tell you what, it would be one heck of a battle, and it's already going to be a battle for them, but it's just going to make that experience hopefully a little bit more enjoyable and more successful for them as well, Dave.
Well, staying with our Racing World on the Road podcast show today, as we cruise along State Highway 1 here in New Zealand on our way to the Huntly Speedway for the Bryce Townsend Memorial Meeting. We'll turn our attentions now to Bryce. So we've sadly lost Bryce a year ago. Was a major player in Speedway in New Zealand. I personally ran into him quite a few times in Indianapolis, of all things, because he was running tours up there, and always on the prowl for anything that was sneaking around, or maybe some free stuff, or all of the above. Al, he was great to you. I remember spending time with you and him down at Patio when you got into running the midget, and he did so much for the sport, didn't he?
He really did, and I'm only one of so many drivers that Bryce essentially got their start and taught them the ins and outs of even just starting a midget car, and getting comfortable in the car, and also extracting the most out of the midget car as well. So for the likes of some of the drivers down here, I know one driver that's going to be giving it everything tonight is going to be Max Guilford. Obviously, Bryce was Max's crew chief, pretty much overseeing him and helping him through the junior ranks from quarter midgets to F2s, and winning his title in the Formula 2 category as well. And obviously Max now the current 3NZ as well in the midget category. So Max will have a point to prove, but like I say, there's so many drivers out there that have also been touched by Bryce, or Bryce has had a part to play in it. And I know obviously Bryce and Michael Pickens were teammates at Seamount Racing for a long period of time, and Bryce had a massive part to play in terms of creating the amazing driver that we're used to seeing in Michael Pickens.
Yeah, he had a lot to do with American drivers as well, from Rico Abu, Tyler Courtney, and very close to the Elliott family, Cindy Elliott, Tony's wife. And I know Susie, obviously, from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You know, there was a lot of Midwestern connections there, and Sleepy Trips family as well. You know, and Bryce was renowned for the tours that he took up to the States, and really showed New Zealanders a little bit more of an insight as to speedway racing up there too.
Yeah, and as you touched on with Blair Julian as well, I know that Bryce was always, big on giving his tour groups the ins and outs of obviously Indianapolis and the Midwest experience and all the rest of it, and you know, bringing the Kiwi personnel to the spotlight as well. So Bryce was a guy that, you know, obviously in the recent weeks getting ready here for tonight at Huntly International Speedway is, you know, hearing some of the stories, some of the emails I've been getting this week, Dave, has been absolutely incredible. And, you know, some that actually, you know, give you sort of chills, and you know, reading some of these people that Bryce touched and, you know, were extremely influential with as well. It's a truly heartwarming and heartfelt night, and something I'm truly honoured to be a part of here tonight as well. But, yeah, I know Bryce's tours were something. You know, I think if anyone had the chance to go on, and the ones that did, man, they've all got a story to tell.
Yeah, well, and the ones that didn't, so me, I still got a story to tell from all the things that we saw on them. So, yeah, a really amazing guy, and a great loss. And as you said, it's a great honour for you and me to be up in the commentary box tonight to call the BT40 and be part of the BT Memorial meeting at Huntly. It's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, and I think with obviously at Western Spring Speedway, we're so used to seeing the open wheel categories with the midgets and TQs and sprint cars and whatnot as well, but really excited to see obviously the V8 wingless sprint cars here tonight as well, something that I've never seen run ever in New Zealand. Obviously we're used to seeing the six shooters with the six-cylinder motors, but I've never seen wingless sprint cars run here. I know they did it at Western Springs back in the early 90s as well. I've seen some old footage of the likes of Alan Wakeling and the likes when they decided that they'd take the wings off and do a bit of a demonstration. That was pretty cool. But yeah, so massive open wheel night here tonight at Huntly, and something that Bryce would have loved to have seen.
That's a relief. I thought you were going to imply that I was old.
Far from it. I put it this way, I remember seeing it, and I believe it was on a VCR.
Oh, okay then. Well, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit old then. But yeah, it is going to be a great night. We're just going through a massive rain shower, so in true Speedway sense, maybe it'll be a good night. We're going to have more for you. We're going to try and shoot some bits and pieces at the Speedway once we get there, and just give you a little insight as to what it's like. Big shout out to Roger Davis and the team at Huntly that have spent countless hours on getting this meeting together at the very tail of what's been a very busy open wheel season, and to have the type of entries that they've got here. There's a lot of credit to Roger and the organising team for this meeting tonight, so well done to those guys, and we'll bring you some more updates when we hopefully get to what we hope will be a dry Huntly Speedway.
It's just a sun shower, Dave. We'll be all right.
Well, there you go. The expert said it's just a sun shower. So we'll talk to you again soon from Huntly. Well, continuation of the boys' road trip. Al's just had to stop for petrol, so we're just on the side of the road now getting petrol, but then we'll be back into it. But one of the other things that came up, of course, is I got to speak to the top qualifiers for the race at Barber, and here's their thoughts as well.
Great start to qualifying this year, but we've got a job to finish tomorrow. The race is very long. We can't get too ahead of ourselves. We just need to execute. Everybody has to do their job, and I think we're gonna be just fine at the end of the race. We just need to watch our back in certain yellows that might put you in a difficult position, and and just pace it out. Throw down some good laps. We're gonna have clean air in front of us, at least for the first part of the race. But we've got a quick car. Lots of smart guys are gonna be finding the optimum strategy and just everything with tires and everything. But I think we've got a good shot to do it tomorrow. I love this place. It's a great track. and especially in qualifying, it's mega. When you lay down a lap, it's really cool. But it'd be really cool to win here, because I've had some good success here in Indy Lights and Indy Pro 2000. So I'd like to close it out in IndyCar as well.
Well, we'll just leave the IndyCar scene again just for a little bit on this travelling road trip of ours, and we made it to Huntly. Fantastic meeting at Huntly. All credit to Roger Davis and the team. Pretty trying conditions when the rain arrived and then it disappeared. And we got the race meeting in. Fantastic feature race. Brad Mosen taking out the feature just was a brilliant event all round, as you can see here from Al.
Right, so if you wanted to catch a little bit of action here, Dave and Al's Travelling Roadshow on Racing World Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you jump on board. Dave and I obviously documenting our road trip down here to Huntly Speedway here tonight to give you all your action on and off track. So the drivers just finishing off, getting themselves into position, getting gridded up. We'll see the 7M of Travis Buckley and Midget Rookie off front row, a few dusting of wheels there.
And as I said, just a great all-round event. Very, very fitting tribute to Bryce Townsend. Sadly missed. We always think of you, Bryce, wherever you may be up there right now looking down upon us. You would have been proud to have seen all those people there and some of the amazing stories that we kind of said about you. Right, turning the attentions back to IndyCar, and by now, by the time this podcast goes to air, you will probably know the result, but it was a tremendous season opener for everybody concerned in IndyCar. Pretty dramatic stuff, as you can see, with Newgarden kind of right into it on lap one of the very first race of the championship. Not always the way to win championships, but I know that Joseph's the type of person that can bounce back. Great to see a new star in the Ganassi stable with Alex Palou taking out the win. And I also got the chance to talk to Scott and Alex after the race about various things. But just great season opener. Great season opener too for Hunter McElrea taking out a win in the Pro 2000 series, and then the other two Kiwis doing very strongly in USF 2000. So all in all, IndyCar's well and truly underway for another season.
It's just the start, it's just the beginning. But for sure, we couldn't start better with Chip Ganassi Racing. And it means a lot, to be honest. Like winning a race in IndyCar, it's not easy. You can see in the past, it's people struggle, and last year I was struggling a lot to be up front. So IndyCar, it's so competitive that you don't know if next week, it's just next week. Like the car is going to be the same, I'm going to be the same, but you don't know where we're going to be. We'll try to do our best, but for sure, at the moment, I'm going to embrace the feeling of being a winner, and I'll try to do it again. So
I'm just going slightly off tangent here for you, Scott. You'll understand it, but we've got effectively 5 Kiwis now up in the States in the Greater IndyCar Series, with 3 in the road to Indy. And as you know, I'm a trustee of the Motorsport Academy down here. And these guys are seeing you very much as the guy to emulate and be one day. I just wonder how that makes you feel as a New Zealander, knowing that we're getting more and more Kiwis up to the States now, those that can travel, of course.
I've been waiting 20 years to have a fellow Kiwi on the grid in IndyCar, and that finally happened. I haven't seen how Scott did this afternoon, but he's done a tremendous job, I think, with fitting in, and obviously with a great team. But yeah, I've caught up with Peter Vodonovich and then Hunter McElrea, and then I haven't seen I think it's Billy Fraser. I haven't seen him, but been trying to keep up to speed on how they've done in races. I know they had a lot of bad luck this weekend with mechanical sort of issues. I think Hunter did a pretty good job. So yeah, it's great. I think there's definitely a lot of talent in New Zealand. A lot of it sort of goes, straight to Australia, and whether it's supercars or Porsche, Cup or anything like that. But it's great to see them sort of tracking back to the American side and hopefully using, the road to Indy, which, hopefully one day, all 3 of those guys in the junior categories can make it to IndyCar.
Once again, I know it's off tangent today, but well done. It's a great way to start the season. It's only a week now to St. Pete and then Texas. So it's a huge variety of tracks in this first couple of weeks. And it's important to come out of the blocks in good shape, isn't it?
This, it would have been nice if we had 1, 2, 3 for the team, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, huge stuff for the 10 car. St. Pete's going to be interesting. Texas will be interesting. It was a track that we didn't test at, where I think the rest of the field did. So it's a double header, so it could have a big swing potential in the points. But yeah, I think the team's confident. I think we've covered a lot of different areas. I think in the off season and tried to focus a little bit more. And the addition of Alex and Marcus, sort of working working on different parts of the program, I think has really brought the team together, and you know, we're definitely working well. So it's only one race. We'll just have to see how the next few go.
Well, congratulations again from New Zealand, from everyone down here, and hopefully one day soon they'll let us on those plane things and we'll get back up to see you. Thanks very much, Scott. Well, final thoughts here before I wrap up this edition of Racing World, the podcast. It was a great little boys road trip that me and Al had, as you would have seen. Just a pleasure to be at Huntly. Really tremendous event. We've now seen the season opener for IndyCar. They race again this week in St. Pete, so we'll have action from there. Very demanding street circuit by comparison to the road course at Alabama, which was also very, very demanding. So the teams are in for a big few weeks. Announced this morning fan capacity for the 105th running of the Indy 500 at 135,000 people, so well short of normal, about 40% capacity over what they would normally be at. But fans will return to Indy for the month of May and the 105th running of the great race. Who will take that one out? Only time will tell. As I've always been told, the track decides sometimes who the winner's going to be. So we're in for a bump day because we're looking like 35, 36 cars to make the field of 33, so that should all be good. But to get to Indy, first of all, you've got to get through St. Pete in Texas as well if you're a season runner, so there's a lot in store. So that happens this weekend. And we've had our second Grand Prix of the season already with the recent running of the Grand Prix in San Marino. And that had plenty of action as well. We had a bit of water and rain in, and you get plenty of drama. So all the motorsports really kicking off around the country. As we mentioned very early on in the Elite Academy, we conducted our interviews just yesterday, so that's kind of why Al's not with me today. He's taken a day off to recover from it all. But we've got 8 pretty fine graduates that will go to the camp in July. We're going to have more stories about the Academy across various episodes of Racing World, the podcast, so you'll be able to catch up with that. And we will announce the 8 for the class of 2021 in a coming show in May. So until then, stay safe out there. We look forward to catching up with you again. Remember to be COVID aware and take care.
Race Control Magazine is your IndyCar fan mag and so much more. Publishing monthly online on issuu.com, you will find Race Control Magazine there for you to download and enjoy everything IndyCar and so much more. Behind the scenes features, race reports and the entire Road to Indy series are just part of what you will find, along with stunning images captured from the series' leading photographers. Grab your copy today at issw.com to complete your motorsport read. Racing World is presented by Race Control Magazine.